Welcome to Yoga with Kylie. And this little sequence is really inspired by my dad. He passed away 2 years ago, this June 25th, of complications related to Parkinson's and dementia. And through watching him deteriorate with this disease, I had created little movement sequences that we would do together every time I visited. And whilst these movement sequences were bespoke to what he was going through in Parkinson's, they actually can relate to any of us as we age, because it's about that ability to easily get up and down off the floor, to maintain the sense of mobility, lubrication through the joints, and to find a sense of ease in moving. So you'll need some props, a chair, a couple of cushions, maybe a bolster or another pillow, because we will finish in a nice chest opener just to relieve some of the tension that often people with Parkinson's, or even as we age, because we spend so much time on a computer, we tend to get very tight and rounded through the upper chest. So we'll begin lying down on our backs. And you may want to grab a cushion or roll up a blanket just to support the head, particularly if you find that your throat is really open because the upper body is a little bit more rounded. So find a comfortable position for the head and the neck, and then bring your feet a little closer together. So bring them all the way together and then separate them about a fist width apart. Take the arms out into a T. And we're going to begin with just a gentle windshield wiper of the legs from side to side. So this gentle windshield wiper bringing us into a little bit of internal and external rotation through the legs, but also freeing up a little bit of mobility through the lower back. And then what you can add on is a little rotation through the arms. So as your knees go to the right, your left arm will spiral in, your right arm spirals out. The left shoulder comes away from the floor. And then as you spiral back the other way, the right shoulder will roll in and up, and the left palm will face up. And then just keep repeating this. You can go a little faster. And let your head just naturally nod to whichever side feels most comfortable. And for me, it's the opposite to the way that the knees are going. Good, last couple. And we'll use this to take us into a little rolling pattern. So take your left arm above your head, let your knees rock to the left, take the right arm and let that roll you all the way onto your belly. At this point, plant your hands beside your rib cage and do a little cobra push-up. And then rest the forehead back to the floor, reach the left arm forward. Start to roll over, and as you do that, draw your knees in, and you'll end up back in that bridge setup. So for Parkinson's, or any of us really, when we age, being able to get up and off the floor becomes really important. So even if you don't have Parkinson's, this ability to be able to roll and press up is really crucial for graceful aging. Take the arm above your head, the right arm this time, let the knees rock over, reach with the left arm and roll. Plant the hands and do a little cobra push. Come back down, reach the right arm forward, roll. So you're using the left hand to roll you, draw the knees in, and you'll end up back on your back. Left arm goes above you, let the knees rock over, reach with the right hand and roll onto your belly. Plant the hands, press down, lift up. Back down to the belly, reach the left arm forward, use the right arm to push, and as you do that, draw your knees in to roll back. Roll, right arm above you rather, roll the knees to the right, roll all the way over and onto your belly, plant the hands, press up, and then back down, right arm extends, push with the left arm to roll back onto your back. And if you've moved up the mat a little, just shimmy your way down. And then draw both knees in and stack them over your hips. Take both arms reached into the sky. So now we'll work more right-left brain integration or contralateral movement. You're going to take your right hand behind you and your left leg towards the floor. And then back to the center. Left arm goes behind, right toes go towards the floor. And then back to center. And you only need to go as far as feels comfortable. I'm just really working to get right and left hemispheres of the brain integrated. And it also becomes a little bit of core stability, which is also important as we age to help us just maintain that sense of stability through the body. Good, couple more. Good, last one. And then release the feet to the floor. You might like to do a little windshield wiper rock of the knees again. And then plant your feet to the floor. Bring your arms alongside you. Push down into the feet and raise the hips up. At the same time, take the arms back behind you. Now, as you exhale, bring the hips down and just your right arm. So just working again, a little bit of contralateral movement. Inhale, lift up, right arm goes up. And as you exhale, bring the left arm down and the hips. Press to rise, reach the arm back behind you. Right arm comes down as the hips lower. Lift up, reach back. Left arm comes down. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, as you lift up, the right knee can come up with the left arm. And then as you come down, right arm comes down with the right leg. Lift the left knee and the right arm. And then as you come down, the left arm will come down with the left leg. It's a little bit more confusing. Right knee, left arm. Right leg, right arm. Right arm, left knee. Left arm, left knee. Good. And then press to rise, both hips, both arms. And just pause there. We'll take a few deep rounds of breath, really anchoring down through the heels and trying to pull the heels back towards the shoulders at the same time. Oftentimes with Parkinson's, or even just as we age, we start to become quite hunched in the upper chest. So this little bit of thoracic opening with the arms reached above the head can really help facilitate length and space, particularly along the latissimus dorsi muscle and that lateral line of the body. Good, and then slowly lower your hips and your arms to the floor. Take the arms out into a T again, little windshield wiper of the legs from side to side. And then take the left arm above you. Knees go to the left, reach with the right arm, roll onto your belly. And if you need to, you can shuffle onto your mat. I'm just going to do that for the video's sake. And from here, we're going to do some little push-ups to the knees. So you'll plant the hands, plant the knees, push up to tabletop, and then lower back down. So again, just building strength to be able to push away from the floor. Push up to tabletop, and then lower back down. Press to tabletop, lower to your belly. 2 more, press up, and down. Press up, and this time we stay. Walk the knees in a little closer. And we'll work that contralateral movement pattern again with some bird dogs. So extend the right leg back behind you and the left arm forward. And then start to bring the left hand and the right knee to touch one another underneath the body. And then reach and extend them away from each other. And just keep repeating this. And if it's too difficult with the left arm reaching away, you can do this with just the leg, so that it becomes more about finding hip flexion and hip extension, 2 really important movements that help us to move around, get up and down of chairs, walk. Good, and then bring the hand and the knee to the floor. Switch over to the other side. The left leg goes back, right arm goes forward. Bring the right hand to touch the left knee under the body, and then extend and reach away. And keep repeating this. And if you like, you can bring that right hand to the floor. So you're just focusing on the movement of the leg. Using the arm as well, getting the contralateral movement, but also a little bit of core stability. Good, a couple more. And then bring the hand and the knee to the floor. Walk your hands back and then stand up on the knees. We're going to work to come to a lunge position and then back to this high kneeling. Now, if you need to, you could put your hand on a bench top or a chair or hold onto a stick alongside you if you need a little bit more support. You're going to try and free the right leg through and then bring it back to high kneel. Left leg comes through, back to your kneeling. And again, right leg, back, left leg, back. Right leg through, plant the foot, and then swing the arms. So nice, generous swing of the arms. You'll notice that it rotates the torso a little, might make it a little bit more challenging with the balance. It's getting that movement pattern that we have when we walk. So the rotation of the spine, the opposite leg forward with the opposite side arm, that movement through the torso and through the pelvis. Good, and then rest. Switch over to the other side. Left leg comes forward, right arm goes forward, and then begin to swing. And so the bigger swing of the arms, the more challenging this might be for your balance. So try and squeeze your legs towards each other. And these bigger movements become really important, particularly for Parkinson's, as their movement starts to get very small. And it's often why they tend to trip over things, because the steps that they take are not big enough. They're not using the swing of their arms to generate momentum and forward movement. Good, and then rest. Bring the foot to the floor. Again, you could use a stick to help with this. We're going to get up and down from the floor. So right leg comes to the floor. If you're using the stick, plant it down into the floor, press down and rise up. And then use the stick to bring you back. Could be a stick, could be even the side of a chair. So I'll demonstrate it with a chair beside me. So right foot down, press into the chair, come up. Slowly come back to your kneeling. Press into the chair, stand up, and come back, kneel. Let's do a couple more times. They're really good for just reminding the body about this movement, as well as strengthening the glutes, the hip flexors, all of these muscles that help with this motion. Good, and then come back to your high kneeling and switch sides. So I'm just going to move the chair over so you can see what it would look like with the support. Left leg comes through, and then press and stand up. Come back down. Press down to stand up. So you can see how, even though this is kind of bespoke to people suffering from things like Parkinson's or MS, it can be relevant to all of us, because as we age, that ability to get up and down with ease from the floor becomes more and more challenging. Good. This time stay standing. I'm going to do some high marching. So again, contralateral movement, but really getting the swing of the arms, because if the arms don't move, then the thoracic spine doesn't tend to move, and then the movement isn't as coordinated, isn't as easeful. So begin by starting to swing the arms so you feel that rotation that happens through the body. And then lift the opposite side leg as you march. Again, something quite simple, but we're getting into the hip flexors by lifting the knee up nice and high, so developing strength. Also a little bit of cardiovascular work, as well as that contralateral movement pattern for the brain. And if you have space, you could take this on a little march around the room that you are in. This is something we used to do a lot of with my dad to keep his steps nice and big, to keep the movement big. Come back to the center of your mat and you'll grab your chair. So these next few movements are all basically based on being in a chair. You can also put some music on. So with Parkinson's, music is really beneficial, or even just having a beat. So creating a little metronome beat that they can move in time to really helps with their movement. So for this, we're going to reach out to the side, so as far as you can without falling, and then we'll reach out to the other side as far as you can without falling. Now, if you like, the palms can also spiral in and out like we did on the floor, which is also really nice for the shoulder socket, getting a little bit of internal and external rotation, lubricating the joint capsule. Then we're going to turn this into a little sun salute. So we'll reach to the side, come in, reach to the other side, come back to center, reach to the sky, and then exhale to fold over the legs, just as far as feels comfortable, and then slowly trace the hands up the legs as you come back to your seat. Reach out to the side, reach out to the side, reach to the center and up, fold down. Trace the hands along the body as you come up. Spiral reach, spiral reach. Reach to the sky, touch, fold over the legs. Slide up the legs, back to the start. Reach and reach. Reach above the head, fold through center, trace along the legs to come up. Let's go one more time. The beauty of this sequence also getting into the lateral body, moving the ribs, finding extension, finding flexion, and then tracing along the body, which just helps to remap those parts of the body into the brain. Come forward on your chair. I'm going to do a little marching pattern seated now. So opposite arm and leg is going to be lifting. Again, we're going to be targeting the hip flexors, but we're going to also add a little kick out so we get some strength through the quad as well. So you'll reach up, knee lifts, kick out, come back and down. Reach up, kick out, back and down. And it doesn't matter how high the knee is as you kick, or the leg is as you kick. It's really just about finding a little bit of that activation, and at the same time finding this full shoulder flexion, because this is also a movement that gets challenging when we start to get more and more rounded through the upper body. So reach up, kick out, bring it back, down, up, kick, back, down. Let's do two more. And last one. Good. You're going to spiral to the left. Place your left foot on the floor and then send your right leg back. So it's kind of like a warrior two position on your chair. Connect the right hand to the back thigh and reach up to the sky. So again, we're trying to target this whole lateral line that can be quite tight. Shoulder flexion and abduction. And also just sending a little bit more awareness into this open side rib cage. A little bit more space for the breath. And one more breath. And then release down. And we'll switch over to the other side. So spin around to the right, step the left leg back, right foot forward, straighten out the back leg as much as feels comfortable. Hand comes to the thigh, top arm comes to the sky. And then see if you can bring the awareness into that right side rib cage Really breathe into that right side. Good, and release down. And come back to the center. I'm just going to spin my chair around. And we're going to do just getting up and down off the chair, which, believe it or not, becomes really challenging as we get older. So sit right to the edge of the chair, and we're going to try and do it without the hands touching anything, but if you need a stick or something beside you, feel free to do that. Otherwise, reach forward, create a little rocking action, and then rock the weight into the balls of the feet, push through the heels to stand up. And again, rock, so create a little movement first, and then rock forward, push and stand. Slowly sit back, rock, rock, and then come up. Slowly back down. Let's see if we can go straight up and down. Rock forward, push, stand, slowly back down. Couple more times. And slowly back, last one, and back. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can take one foot slightly forward so that you're using more of one leg. So it becomes kind of like a modified pistol squat. So reach the arms forward again, find a little rocking action, and then rock forward into the front of the feet, stand up, slowly sit back, rock, and then rock forward to rise up, slowly sit back. Rock. Use the rock to come forward and up, so using that bit of momentum. And last one, rock forwards, and then rock to rise. Come back down, switch over sides. One leg forward, and of course, if this is challenging, use a stick or just go back to the double leg variation. This is obviously something a little bit spicier than just regular getting up and down. But it's a good thing to, keep practicing if you are able to do it, because it's another thing that we lose as we get older. The rock forwards and back. Find that little bit of momentum and press to rise. Sit down. Rock forward and back. And use the momentum to get you up. Really connect down through the heel of the foot that you're resting the weight through, so that you feel that connection all the way up to your butt. So let's do one more. And we can stay up this time. Just turn around. And we're going to use the chair just to help us to get down, or if you don't need the chair, you can simply step one knee behind and then the other knee to the floor. And then bring your hands onto the chair. We're going to do a little forward fold on the chair. So you can either stack the forearms one in front of the other and then rest your forehead in your hands. Or you could stack fists and rest the forehead that way. If you want a little more, you can come all the way down. Maybe thread your legs through the chair and rest this way. So forearms stacked, forehead resting on the forearms or on the chair. Just feeling that little bit of stretch, maybe through the hamstrings or the posterior line of the body, the lower back, upper back. And slow down the breath. And just carefully move the chair out of the way. And grab your cushions and things. And you'll place the cushion lengthways. I'm going to place another cushion underneath it just to give it a little bit more height. So you could use a few pillows to get that same shape. And then hips go maybe a fist width away. You'll lie down and then bring your pillows alongside you so that your arms can rest on something. And you may want another cushion or rolled up blanket underneath the head at this point as well so that the chin feels slightly tucked. So just finding that position where your throat is not open. You feel comfortable through the spine. You may even need a cushion underneath the hips if the tailbone feels a little bit bony or like it's pressing into the ground too much. And then come to a nice, comfortable resting position. So this opening through the chest, really important, particularly as we age, because we tend to get very rounded through the upper body. And in Parkinson's especially, they get very, very tight through the front of the chest and the shoulders. And close the eyes and just allow your body to rest. And oftentimes the rest becomes difficult as their body tends to go into rigidity as they are sleeping. And just seeing if you can find a few moments where the body relaxes completely. And bring awareness to the breath. And try and slow down your exhalation. And stay in this resting position for as long as you need to. And thank you for practicing with me. Hari Om Tat Sat.